Hello, everybody. Hello. I wanted to, I don't go live often on YouTube. I probably have went live maybe twice. But I wanted to come on here and go live to answer any questions that people may have in regards to medical coding. I get a lot of comments, I get a lot of emails, things like that. So I wanted to come on and answer those questions in real time, and answer them live. What I really wanted to talk about tonight, as well as tips for newly certified coders. Now I know the audience on this channel, future coders, people who are going through their courses, newly certified coders, veteran coders. So it's a variety or diverse audience for this page. But I often see in the comments about newly certified coders having problems finding jobs. Now, I may be a little biased, and I spoke to someone off of my comments before, and I may be a little biased to that because I myself, I did not have those issues as a newly certified coder years ago, because actually my first job was before I was certified. Most of the people who I help who have taken my class, or people who come to me and we end up working together, they typically don't have the issue once we get together and find out what the disconnect is. So I might be a little biased to that because I typically don't see personally. Now, from people on the platform, on my social media, yes. But personally, I don't see a lot of newly certified coders in my RAM who have problems finding a job. I think I made a video about it on YouTube. If I didn't, it was definitely on TikTok, and it was definitely on a LinkedIn link, where one of my latest coders, she had no coding background at all, and she was able to secure a job, actually two remote jobs, making $98,000 only 3 weeks after she was certified. So again, I do apologize if I'm biased when I hear coders say, I'm newly certified, I've been certified since 2016 or 17 or 18, and I still cannot find a job. So I am a little biased to that, but I am working on it. So I wanted to come and have tips for newly certified coders as well, so they can take some of these resources and some of this knowledge as they're on their journey looking for a new job. One thing as a newly certified coder, you have to understand that your resume has to be tight. You're already a new coder, and especially if you do not have a coding background. Will that disqualify you? Will that keep people from hiring you? Absolutely not, because you have the certification that they're looking for if you're certified. But what you're going to have to do as a newly certified coder, you are going to have to add transferable skills to your resume. Well, what do I mean about transferable skills? Let's say you was a bank teller before you started doing coding. Well, as a bank teller, you work with reimbursement because you're reimbursing people for whatever checks or money or whatever. Documentation review, because you have to review their documents of their identification, any identifying documents they have to say that they are who they say they are. So what I mean by transferable skills is, if you've worked in a bank, you worked to do reimbursements or documentation review, highlight those things on your resume so they can transfer as a coder, meaning that you may not have coded before, but you did the same thing with coding components at another job. Transferable skills. So if you are a newly certified coder, or a coder who has not had a coding job and you cannot find one, make sure that you have transferable skills on your resume. That's going to be important. I'm 40. I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm 40. So I remember looking for a job back in the day. You can walk into a job. Hey, can I speak with the manager? Are you guys hiring? I would like to fill out an application on the spot. Well, today it does not work like that anymore. You cannot walk into a job. You cannot ask for the supervisor. You cannot tell them you want an application. They're going to give you a paper application. It does not work like that anymore. So you have to understand that your resume is your first impression. So you have to find out where the disconnect is if you're not finding a coding job. The disconnect could be your resume. The disconnect could be your interview skills. The disconnect could be you're not passing pre-employment exams. But the important thing is to self-evaluate and see where the disconnect is. For an example, if you've been applying for jobs, nobody is calling you back, the disconnect could be the resume. The resume is not catching anybody's attention. Well, if you're applying for jobs, you're getting interviewed, but once they interview you, they're not calling you back to hire you. Then the disconnect could be your interview skills. So you have to find out where the disconnect is and reach out for help. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I've been doing this on my own. It's not working. I may need a little help. Network. Go to your local chapter meetings. A lot of these meetings are virtual. So if you're a new coder looking for a job, you have to tap in and exhaust all of your resources. I understand it gets discouraging. I understand it gets draining. But you cannot get discouraged by hearing a no. Even if you're a veteran coder and you cannot find the job that you're specifically looking for, you cannot get discouraged by hearing a no. You cannot be afraid of rejection. Keep applying. My recommendation is if you are actively looking for a job, I recommend that you apply for at least 10 jobs a day. 10. That's at the minimum. Because the more you put your resume out there, the higher your chances are somebody's going to call you back. But if you're applying to 1 or 2 jobs every other day, every other week, nobody knows you're looking for a job. So you have to be persistent and you have to be consistent when you're looking for a job, whether you are a newly certified coder or whether you are a veteran coder. Another question I often get, what is the difference between the CRC, which is the Certified Risk Adjustment Coder? I have that class coming in January the 14th through April the 1st. And what is the difference between the CRC and the CPC, Certified Professional Coder? So the first thing I say is a lot of people, a myth, they think that they have to have the CPC first before getting the CRC. No, you do not. You do not have to have the CPC first. You don't. My recommendation, I have both. I have the CPC and I have the CRC through the AAPC. My recommendation is to get the CRC first. Not because I'm teaching it. Absolutely. If I was not teaching it at all, it would still be my recommendation from me having both. So this is why a lot of people often ask me, well, why do you recommend the CRC first? What is the difference? What's going on? So this is why, and I often get this question, so I want to answer it on live. So this is why I recommend the CRC first. The CRC, the Certified Risk Adjustment Coder, you're only learning from one book. You're taking the exam from one book, the ICD-10 book, the diagnosis coding book. And you're not even dealing with all of the diagnosis codes in that book. Only chronic conditions. That's what your focus is. The CRC focuses on chronic conditions, and you're only using one book, the ICD-10 book. Well, the CPC, you're using all 3 coding sets, all 3 coding books. Your diagnosis coding book, your procedure coding book, and your HCPC books that has the vaccines or the injections or medical devices, DMEs like wheelchairs, walkers, canes, gauze, things like that. So with the CPC, you're learning out of 3 books. So if you're just trying to get your feet into coding or your foot into coding, learning from 3 books can be overwhelming. Versus the CRC, you're only learning from 1 book. So if you do the CRC first, learn from 1 book, master that, get your CRC. By the time you circle back around to your CPC, well, you already know your ICD-10 book backwards and forwards, inside out. So now you only will be learning your two other books. You only will be focusing on knowing or understanding the other two books because you've already taken the CRC course and have your ICD-10 diagnosis coding down. Another thing, there are 9 sections to the CRC exam: quality care, compliance, medical terminology, ICD-10 coding, things like that. So there are 9 sections. Well, the CPC, there are 17 different sections to the exam. So you have more sections, and then you have to use more books for the exam. And those are just a few of the reasons why I recommend the CRC first, because it's less challenging. I think it's easier to, now is it easy? No. But it's less challenging than the CPC. It's easier, not easy, easier than the CPC because you have all those sections and you're trying to figure out from 3 different books. So I don't see that anybody have any questions. Does anybody have any specific questions that they wanted to ask in regards to medical coding? My CRC course is coming up in January. What I can tell you about that since I'm on live. Come on, you say I do. If you have a question, I have an answer. So my CRC course is coming up on January the 14th through April the 1st. It's going to be 12 weeks. So there are 10 different modules going over the 10 different sections or the 10 different topics of the exam. And then you're going to have a midterm, and then you also have a final exam as well. So everything is online. Everything is online, and it comes with a live instructor, me, or there's going to be 2 to 3 other instructors teaching this course in January as well. So the reason I created it in that format is because I did not want people to have to navigate through the material by themselves, where it's just a PowerPoint talking to you, or you're reading through a PowerPoint and now you're depending on your own knowledge to figure things out to pass the exam. So that's why I created in the format of having things online, as well as having live instructors to go over everything that you're reading online to make sure that you're understanding and you're prepared. End of each module to make sure that you understood what you read. So you have to get at least a 70% on each chapter exam before you can go on to the next chapter. So I created it that way because I did not want anybody to pass on to the next chapter without understanding the previous chapter. So someone said, I was wondering if you would recommend, I was wondering if you would recommend locating states for a first coding job. Let's say you are having any luck in your city finding a job for the first 6 months. First of all, of course, I'm not gonna hold your feet to the fire because you asked the question because you did not know. Please do not limit yourself. Do you recommend going to a community college to get certified? So I answered that next. Let me see. Community college, trade school, and my thoughts. I answer that next. So the question I'm answering now is, somebody said they have not had any luck in their city for 6+ months. Should they look outside of their city? Yes. Yes, look outside of, you should have started with your city in the first place. But I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire because you asked me the question because you did not know. But now that you know, I'm expecting you to do something different because you know. Whenever you're coding, do not limit your, let me get closer. Do not limit yourself to your city. Look for remote jobs. When you're looking, Indeed is, for the last 7 years, all of my jobs I've ever held in the last 7 years has come from Indeed. Every single one of them. Every last one of them. And Indeed has quick apply, where you can quickly apply for it, and you can click like 2 or 3 clicks, and it uploads your resume and send it directly to their company. So use the quick apply as well to apply for these jobs. Again, do not limit yourself to your city. Go to Indeed, type in medical coding or whatever certification that you have, and then type in remote. You will have a better chance getting a remote job outside of your city than limiting yourself to whatever city that you're living in. And then most of the time, if you're limiting yourself to your city, it's going to be a job that you're going to have to drive to. Now, if you don't mind driving, gas up. Me personally, I've been working at home pretty much on and off, hybrid or whatever, prior to COVID. So I'm used to being at home. I'm not sure if I can survive if I had to go into an office. I'm not sure if I live. I'm not sure if I survive. I don't know what that looks like. So if you specifically want to just go into an office, socialize, mingle with coworkers, of course, look for jobs in your city so you can drive to. Gas up. But do not limit yourself to jobs in your city. Look for remote jobs on Indeed. Type in remote outside of your city. Like right now, one of my jobs, I have 2 jobs. Currently, one of them is based out of Texas, and the other one is based out of Nevada. Now, I like working jobs where if I'm going to work 2 jobs, one job I do physician training, or provider training, because they're all not physicians. Some are nurse practitioners, physician assistants, and MDs. So I do provider education and provider training, one of my jobs. My other job, I do OBGYN coding. So one job, I do not code at all, just provide training. I do auditing. I audit the providers and I audit other coders to make sure that they're using the proper codes, or the documentation is still there. The other one, OBGYN coding, I love, love, love OBGYN coding. So I find what works for me if I'm going to work 2 jobs, what works for me is having jobs on different time zones. My current job, the time zone is Central. I'm in Eastern time. I'm in Atlanta. My current job is based out of Texas. My job is based out of Texas, and it is Central time. The other job is based out of Nevada. It's on Pacific time. So I find that works for me better because I can wake up early, 6 o'clock or whatever, start working the main job or whatever. And by the time I hop to the other job, it's just not midday because they're on Pacific time. Because 8 o'clock in California, Las Vegas, and things like that, it's like 11 o'clock in Atlanta. So it's like a 3-hour difference or window, and it just works good for me. So you can also get 2 jobs or however, it works for me when they're on different time zones. So to answer your question before I move on to the next one, do not limit yourself to your city when looking for jobs unless you specifically want to just go into the office, or you just feel comfortable only looking in your city, or you don't feel comfortable working remote. Don't be afraid of working remote. It's really fun. It's flexible, and you can still get your work done. So the next one is community college. Do I suggest a community college to get certified? I suggest whatever route that you feel is best for you. What I can do is I can give you the rundown of each route and you find what works for you. Me personally, you're welcome. Me personally, I would rather go through the AAPC or a instructor like myself before I go through community college or trade school, simply because of the length of time it takes. Usually, not all the time, but usually if you're going to go to a trade school, it's going to take you about 9 months to finish. And it's going to take you about $15,000 to $18,000 at a trade school. At a community college, yes, you can get financial aid, things like that, but it usually takes you longer to get the certification. Another myth, a lot of people say, well, I have my billing and coding degree, or I have a degree in coding. Jobs are not looking or seeking for you to have a degree in coding. They do not care about you having a degree in coding. I'm just being honest. They care if you have a certification through AHIMA or through the AAPC. Another topic I wanted to hop on right fast is I'm actually working with a young lady right now, as I have worked with prior people in the past who have the CBCS certification through the NHA. And that CBCS is the Certified Billing and Coding Specialist. Can you find a job with this certification? Absolutely you can. Will it be good money? Probably not. It'll be decent. If you look on Indeed, LinkedIn, anywhere else where they're hiring medical coders, they are not searching for that CBCS. Sorry, they're not. So if you have the CBCS, use it as a stepping stone. But understand that if you really want to get into the coding industry, then you're going to have to get an AHIMA or AAPC certification to, to elevate in this industry. But you can use it as a stepping stone. Most trade schools will not tell you that they are training you for a certification that employers are not seeking. So if you're looking into medical coding, whether you take it through an instructor like me, you take it through a community college, you take it through some course you found online, there's one question that you can ask. One question that you can ask, and you will be certain if you're taking the right certification course or not. Always ask, does this course prepare me for a certification through the AAPC or through AHIMA? If the answer is no, that's not the course for you. Look into signing up for a course that prepares you for the AAPC or AHIMA certifications. So, should you go to a community college? If that's what you want to do, perfect. But understanding going through the AAPC or an instructor like myself or other instructors that you may find or trust is going to be less expensive than community college, and it's going to be less time than community college. But community college is not a bad option. If it prepares you for an AHIMA or AAPC certification, it's not a bad option. Not a bad option at all. The only thing I want you to be aware of going to these trade schools, like I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and we have a trade school in our town called Concord Career College. I went to Concord for pharmacy tech. That was my introduction into healthcare. Pharmacy tech, it was perfect. Certification through the state was working. But a lot of these trade schools do not give you the real information when it comes to coding. Billing and coding are two different things. So the number one thing you should be aware of, if you get a certification that says, oh, we're going to teach you medical billing and coding. Red flag. Billing and coding are two separate certifications. So if you get a certification that says you're certified as a biller and coder, it's probably not what employers are seeking. Because even through the AAPC, they have a standalone billing certification called the CPB, Certified Professional Biller. Then they have the coding certifications. It's not together. So if you find a certification that says, oh, Certified Billing and Coding Specialist or something like that, it can be a stepping stone, but just understand it's not what employers are seeking first. You want to be the first pick if you have one of those. AHIMA, AAPC. So to wrap it up in conclusion, to answer your question, community college is not a bad option. Make sure you're not spending more money than you have to spend. Now, if you don't have the money to do payment plans with instructors or through the AAPC or to pay in total, and community college is your only option, definitely go for it. Do not pass up on it because it costs a lot of money, because you'll make your money back. So if community college is your best option, definitely go to the community college. Just make sure it's a certification through AHIMA or the AAPC. And if you're going to go to these trade schools, make sure it's a certification through AHIMA or AAPC. Find a school that does, or it's not the right school. So let's see the next question. Let's see. I have been in healthcare for almost 20 years as a biller, revenue cycle analyst. I have an associate's in health information technology. You should get your RIA. But let too many years pass for the exam. Will AAPC course prepare me for the CCS also? No, if you want to get prepared for the CCS, Miss Sparkle 1212, first of all, congratulations on having all of the experience in healthcare. Do not be discouraged by anything because you have 20 years in healthcare. That speaks by itself. So all you have to do now is just get the correct credentials behind your name. The CCS is through the AHIMA certification, through the AHIMA organization, AHIMA, AHIMA. So the AAPC does not prepare you for the CCS. The Certified Coding Specialist is through AHIMA. So check out AHIMA. But if I were you, Miss Sparkle 1212, with your big old 20 years of experience, what I would do, especially in billing and revenue cycle, I would first look into getting the CPB through the AAPC, Certified Professional Biller. The reason I would suggest that for you is because you already have 20 years in the game of billing and revenue cycle. So you probably can pass that just by getting the study guide or a quick refresher or looking at some videos because you got 20 years in the game. You know, so it's not like you're a new bird starting from scratch. You may not have any certifications, but you have the knowledge to get the certifications. So if I were you, I would start by getting the CPB. I would start by getting the CPB since you already have that experience. Would you say I'm already enrolled in the course or just take the exam and thanks for the advice and encouragement? Absolutely. Definitely get the CPB because you already have that knowledge right there. Someone asked, how much is my course? My course, again, is a CRC course, 12 weeks, January the 14th through April the 1st. It is $850 total if you pay it total out. If you elect to get the payment plan, because I do have a payment plan as well, the payment plan is $900 total. And it's going to be $300 a month for 3 months. So it's $850 if you pay all of it up front. And it's $900 with $300 a month for 3 months if you select the payment plan. Okay, so let me answer any other questions. So I answered about the community college. Miss Sparkle, yes, congratulations, Miss Sparkle, too. So what's the best career path for a new coder? We should start off in certain specialty. I recommend the CRC for new coders, and I already went through it at the beginning of this video. The reason why I recommend it because you're only learning and studying from one book. So by the time you circle around to the CPC or any other certification that you're going to get, you already have mastered the ICD-10 book and you only have to learn from the other 2 books. So how do you go about getting specialized in a certain area? All you have to do is take the exam for that specialty that you're trying to get certified in. How do you go about getting specialized? Yes, so if you want to specialize in cardiology coding, OBGYN coding, urology coding, chronic condition coding, there are separate certifications for those. Some certifications require that you have the CPC first if you're going through the AAPC. So always check out AAPC.com to see what the guidelines, the rules are in ordinance with getting those specialized certifications. So, wait a minute, I'm on live, baby. Give me just a minute. Okay, so does anybody else have any questions? So I answered about do not limit yourself to your state. Look for remote jobs outside of your city. If you are a new coder, apply for at least 10 jobs a day. Does anybody else have any questions before I go? Because I really just wanted to get on here and just let you guys know about my class that's coming up. I'm excited too, Jennifer. I'm excited for you to start as well because you're going to learn so many things in this course that's going to help you out. So I'm excited as well. Move back. So does anybody else have any questions before we get off live? So I talked about newly certified code. Is it better to have experience in both coding and billing, or you can make a good amount of money with just billing? So the thing about it is, in my experience, you can make good money billing, absolutely, because I know someone who teaches billing. If you want to look for her on all platforms, her name is Ask the Biller. Her name is Quiana, Q-U-I-A-N-A, and she goes by Ask the Biller on all platforms. So, from knowing her, you definitely could make good money billing as well. But in my experience, coding, you can count entry-level coding, you can make $50,000, which is $25 an hour coming into a coding job. Most billing jobs, the thing about billing and coding, which is different, most coding jobs, they want you to be certified. It's kind of like no exceptions, but you know, of course, there's always exception to the rule because I got a coding job before I was certified. So I would not dare tell you that you couldn't get one before you're certified because it's possible. Anything is possible when you work for it, manifest, and believe. However, with most billing jobs, you don't have to be certified. If you have enough experience, then they'll hire you, and they're not specifically looking for you to have that CPB or anything like that. So I might be a little biased to that too, because I am a coder. Now I do know how to bill, but do I like billing? No. And the reason I don't like billing is because I don't want to be on the phone with insurance companies. I don't want to see why this patient didn't pay their account and have to make a call. I don't want to figure out deductibles or co-pays. I don't want to do charge entry. I don't want to do pre-authorization for surgeries to make sure this insurance company is going to approve before we actually do the procedure. I don't want to do all of that. So do I know how to bill? Absolutely. Do I like billing? No. So if I ever get a job who wants me to do billing, then it's going to be extra money because I'm doing extra job, you know, an extra job. So I really don't like billing, and I might be biased to coding because it took me maybe about 3 years, and I kind of feel my way out. That's why I think I have the blueprint, because a lot of people who just act on my suggestions of everything I recommend and suggest, it end up working out for them. And I feel like I kind of got the blueprint because in just 3 to 4 years of coding, I was able to break the 6 figures mark with coding. Well, I want to say coding as a coder, because you probably won't make 6 figures coding unless you have 2 coding jobs, you know. But you make the 6 figures when you get into things like auditing, provider education, documentation, reviews, CDI, things like that. So it took me about 3.5 years to kind of break that six-figure mark with coding. So I might be biased in that department because I really don't know billers who make 6 figures like that, just to be honest. Are they out there? I'm sure they are. I just don't know any billers that make 6 figures, billing, but I know a plethora of coders who make 6 figures coding, because I myself, my goal was 10, and I'm falling short, but my goal was to help 10 coders this year to make 6 figures, and I am at 6. So fell a little short. I still got to December the 31st, so I might be a little biased, like I said, because I know a lot of coders who are certified in coding who make 6 figures, but I do not know any billers, maybe like 2. And it's because they have their own billing company. They've been doing it for a while, things like that. So let me see what other questions. Oh, yeah, I do not like Lakeisha Mosby, who said that. I'm with you. Give me a virtual high five. I do not like billing at all either. And you put a laughing out loud, I'm frowning. Don't like billing. I won't even laugh. I do not like billing. Is CPC credential applicable for home health coding? Most home health coding have their own coding certification that you can get. I'm not as familiar with that specific certification. Can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But home health has their own coding certification that you can get for home health coding. But I am sure with your CPC, you would not have trouble finding a job, whether it's home health, whether it's skilled nursing facility, inpatient, outpatient, or anything like that. You will not have a problem. Any advice for a CPCA coder? Right now, there are a lot of companies who are hiring CPCA coders. Will you get out of my video, please? Thank you. So there are a lot of companies who are hiring CPCA coders. And the reason being that Not cute. Somebody said, oh, cute. So there are a lot of companies hiring CA coders. And what I'm seeing a lot now is, and I can see the point of why they're hiring a lot of newly certified coders, and I'll give you an example. So take a newly certified coder and then you put me together. So a lot of companies looking at it like, hey, Marciana's been coding for a while. She's going to come into our job with a lot of bad habits that she probably learned from another job. This is not the way we do it. We're going to have to drill it into her head that now you work for our company and this is the way that we want you to do it. You're going to be giving pushback saying, hey, I did it like this in my old company. What are you guys doing? Well, with a newly certified coder or a new coder, you're not going to have that much pushback because you can mold them and train them to your specifications. And a lot of companies are now looking for new coders to mold, to train, and so they can have them there at their company for years and years and years and years. And most of the time it works like that because most times people feel like, oh, this company gave me an opportunity when nobody else did, so I'm going to stay here for a while. So yeah, if I were you, I would get on Indeed, type in CPCA and remote for the location, and there are going to be a lot of jobs come up. They are going to be hiring you with your CPCA. So Jennifer said auditing is her goal. Definitely, yes, yes, yes. So a lot of people think that to audit you have to have your CPMA. Does it help? Absolutely. It pushes you to the forefront when you're applying. It pushes you to the forefront. But Jennifer, you and I personally going to get together. Jennifer, send me an email and remind me that you want to get into auditing. And send me your available times and your number or whatever, and we'll talk. And I can kind of show you how to slide into the auditing role without your CPMA. And CPMA is Certified Professional Medical Auditor. So a lot of jobs for you to be an auditor, they want you to have your CPMA. But you know, like they say, hey, it's more than one way to skin a cat. One monkey don't stop the show. So Jennifer, get with me and we'll definitely get together prior to my class starting with some tips with it. It seems like most employers want at least 2 years of experience. No, I would not say most employers want 2 years of experience. At least some employers do. I put jobs on my LinkedIn, Instagram, all the time where they're saying no experience necessary. You don't need any. Now, some jobs, depending on what the job is, because if I'm having somebody to do extensive coding, I may not want a brand new coder that I have to train that does not know anything about this. So yes, for some jobs, they do want you to have some sort of experience. But that's why I also recommend the CRC first, or risk adjustment coding, because a lot of these jobs are willing to train. There are more people with their CPC than their CRC. That's why they will take coders that have their CPC and allow them to do risk adjustment coding. From now on, I want you to pay attention to risk adjustment coding description, job description, and ads. It will say, basically, we'll take you with your CPC, but we prefer that you have your CRC. It'll say we prefer you have your CRC. But there are so many companies for risk adjustment, since everybody does not have their risk adjustment certification. That's another reason I'm telling you to get it. Everybody doesn't have it. A lot of more people have their CPC. So anyway, risk adjustment coding, a lot of those jobs are willing to train. See there, Jennifer said, yes, she sees that a lot. I'm telling you, they'll say, hey, you got your CPC? We'll take you. But we prefer people who got their CRC. But we'll take you though. Come on, come on. You know, and so also having this CRC help you get that salary increase as well when it comes to risk adjustment specific jobs that cater to risk adjustment. So let me make sure I answer all the questions. Someone said, how many classes will you have available next year? So 2 so far that I know of. I'm trying to see about 3 with the CRC. I'm working on that. because I'm actually going to have the CPC course as well introduced next year. So I am going to have the CRC and the CPC course, because a lot of my students who pass the CRC, they want their CPC as well next. They're like, okay, I'm hungry for the next certification. I want that CPC now. You know, I've got the easier part out of the way. I got my CRC. I got my foot in the door. I got my job, you know, risk adjustment coding. Now I want to go to the next one. So I'm also going to have the CPC. I haven't decided because I'm still working on the curriculum. And that's another thing as well. I don't use the AAPC curriculum. I use my own curriculum. So it takes a lot of time to actually create, because I'm making sure everything is included in the curriculum. You have everything that you need to pass this exam. So I'm still wrapping up the curriculum for the CPC. So I've been working on it for about 14 months and I'm almost done. So does anybody else have any questions before I get off live? So let me give you away. Yep, I just got my CRC in July. Congratulations, Lakeisha. So here's a way to contact me. You can reach me via email at alliedhealthprepacademy@gmail.com. And that's ALLIEDHEALTH Prep, P-R-E-P, Academy, ACADEMY, @gmail.com. Allied Health Prep Academy @gmail.com. If you want to check out my classes, my services, what I offer, things like that, you can go to www.alliedhealthprepacademy.com. If you want to reach me via phone, if you want to verbally ask your questions, or you want to have a conversation or things like that, you can reach me at 800-977-1550. Again, that's 800-977-1550. And I operate off of Eastern Standard Time because I am in Atlanta. And you can call up to 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And I will answer, or you can leave a message, or my assistant will answer, or we'll get back with you. Also, you can reach me on LinkedIn, Marciana Jones, Instagram at the coding coach _CPC CRC. And of course, here on YouTube. Oh, TikTok. My 21-year-old, he put me on TikTok, so I'm on TikTok now. And you can find me at MJ the Coding Coach on TikTok. So if there are not any more questions, I am going to go. I just want to hop on live. I haven't, I don't go live often. I do make videos, but I don't go live often. So I wanted to say hi to everybody. I want to also say thank you so much for your support. Keep your questions coming. Any videos that you would like for me to make, any specific subjects that you're having trouble with or you're interested in, make sure you drop the comments below. Or comment on a video and let me know what video you would like to see. Let me know what you're interested in, and then we can get it popping. So thank you so much for joining me. Again, I'm MJ the Coding Coach, and I appreciate all of your support, and I hope I was able to answer your questions. Again, I gave you my email, my website, ways to contact me, social media. So do not hesitate. Even if you have not taken a course from me, contact me if you have a question, because the thing about it, or even if you're thinking about taking another course from another instructor and you just want to make sure you have all the coding info. Hey, this instructor teaches this certification. Is this the right one? And I'm going to say, yes, it's the right certification. That's a great class to take. Go ahead and do it. Or I might say, hey, employers are not seeking that one. You might want to look into something else. So this is not just limited to people who are spending their money with me. I do this because I have a passion for coding in general, whether you take a course from me, whether you take it from another instructor or the AAPC itself. I just want to make sure that everybody has the correct information, everybody elevates and gets to the place that they want to in this coding industry. And if I can be a vessel or help, I definitely want to do that. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching. And don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions regarding this medical coding industry. Thank you so much. Bye.